course, the One Asia Community in Cross-Cultural Dialogue with Europe takes place in Spain at Complutense University Madrid, funded by the One Asia Foundation. Complutense is one of the oldest universities in the world, located in the capital of Spain. It enrolls almost 90,000 students with over 200 degrees and doctoral programs, 30 libraries, and one of the most extensive archive collections in Europe. It has provided invaluable contributions in the sciences, fine arts, and political leadership, including 7 Nobel Prize winners, and continuing to rank among the top universities in the world. The university has institutions abroad to foster intellectual and scientific interaction, including the Real Colegio Complutense at Harvard University and the Collège des Études Européennes at Sorbonne. The course, the One Asia Community in Cross-Cultural Dialogue with Europe, trains students in intercultural dialogue between Asia and Europe. It is embedded in the research program Studies on Intermediality as Intercultural Mediation, SIIM, hosted at Complutense University. SIM research program has developed projects with the European Union, with the Spanish Ministry of Education, Madrid local government, local NGOs, and research groups worldwide. SIM focuses on theory, method, and application, looking at cultural expressions as connected to and dependent on other forms, situations, and activities of human expression. Support from the One Asia Foundation to Complutense has enabled the creation of a specialized seminar to train students in grade degrees in cross-cultural awareness. The course also makes students more aware of Asian values in general and of the values of the One Asia Foundation in particular. In 2017, the course hosted 23 lectures. Each have sought to explore the differences and similarities between Eastern and Western worldviews. The philosophy of Chairman Sato has been fundamental in inspiring students and professors to see how cross-cultural education serves communities at all levels, personal, local, national, and international. Invited experts have contributed towards the topic of cross-cultural communication from disciplines such as cultural anthropology, political science, history, geography, communication theory, semiotics, language differences, forms of cognitive processing, artistic expressions, and so on. The recognition of culture as a form of semiotic transference paves the way to SIM's study of interculturalism in education. Each culture has its own traditions, and they include specific forms of social communication and representation that preserve historical memory. Communication serves to establish connections among people by means of particular signs, codes, and media. Semiotic deals with the study and interpretation of signs, and in its global dimension it implies the study of cross-cultural communication and representation. Communication requires the consciousness of more than one subject. It is intersubjective. Intercultural and cross-cultural communication and representations point to the effort of crossing over and meeting other cultures. But what is culture? The concept of culture incorporates aspects shared by communities such as customs, ethos, values, and so on, including the forms by means of which these aspects are represented in art, architecture, scientific theories, etc. 10% of cultural content is made up of visible cultural expressions, such as forms of behavior, ways of life, traditions, signs, thoughts, beliefs, ideologies, norms, etc. The largest cultural content, however, 90%, lies at the bottom of the human mind, embedded in our feelings and emotions, which sustain our core values. Contemporary global societies present the need for people to understand others who they may find not only very different from themselves, but also holding attitudes and beliefs which may be difficult to accept. This kind of understanding across differences in value systems requires positive empathy. How do emotions like love, joy, hatred, sadness, fear, shame, and so on become charged with positive or negative connotations that can facilitate or prevent intercultural cooperation? Emotions are indeed the systems of values, and the process of analyzing one's own values is a prerequisite for understanding others. Students in the One Asia course are envisioned as trees. The branches of the tree are the visible appearance of values. They're shown in the differences and similarities between ourselves and others: skin, hair, body build, eye color, tastes, everyday habits. The trunk are the observed attitudes, the way people move, their greetings, the way they talk, how they show their emotions. The roots are ingrained cultural values that can be inferred from the appearance and from the observed attitudes and reactions. This can be seen in the video students created with the tree symbol. Values are experienced as emotional energy that finds expressions in the priorities we set and the choices we make. Partly inherited, values are mostly culturally developed in our lifetime, whether consciously or unconsciously. In order to make them evident to us and to others, they need to be transformed into conscious awareness so that in socialization we can align them with those of other peoples. In the case of multicultural groups, this alignment requires specific strategies and skills that need to be learned. Although observing and listening help students to understand, they are not sufficient for the development of empathy and emotional learning. The building of understanding and empathy requires that students learn to shift their frame of reference and position themselves in other people's places. Students learn this through the use of storytelling techniques and in the development of experiential learning projects in the Living Unilab. SIM employs learning by doing and design thinking methodologies to teach students to look at their cultural background in order to be aware of the differences with other foreign classmates. Thanks to the One Asia Foundation, Complutense students are becoming aware of the philosophy of the One Asia community, and ties between Europe and Asia are becoming stronger.